York.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Chief and Director, for being here. Most of us in this room and back at home learned in about the 11th grade that in the legislative branch, we pass the laws and we appropriate and authorize the money, and the executive branch enforces the laws and spends that money. And my question is to you, Chief, with respect to fiber optic sensors and light posts, because the frustration of the Congress and this committee is we've done our job. We've authorized the money. The appropriators have appropriated that money. We've sent resources to the executive branch. We're frustrated that the President and Secretary Mayorkas have failed to enforce those laws and properly utilize those resources. So my question with respect to the fiber optic sensors, which we understand are an important piece to our border security, can you tell us the status of these sensors? Are they on? Where do they exist? And have any of them been turned off, Chief?
So I'm going to work that backwards. Thank you, Congressman, for the question. None of them have been turned off. We have them deployed across various locations along the southwest border. I would prefer not to share exactly the location, but I will tell you that we continue to expand the linear ground detection system in areas where where 300 miles of infrastructure was slated to be constructed. That is an ongoing project. We continue to make those investments. We are quite often in the real estate and the environmental process. I checked with my team actually this morning, and even here in South Texas, we have ongoing deployments of underground sensors throughout the area of responsibility.
Chief, would the addition of more fiber optic sensors increase our border security?
Most definitely, sir. We have areas along the southwest border where perhaps your traditional infrastructure, a wall or barrier system, may not be as beneficial both to the community, to the ranchers, to the farmers, and perhaps maybe a virtual linear ground detection system might be the best course of action. And in those areas, we are certainly working hard to make sure that those systems are deployed.
Chief, with respect to the permitting process, we understand and respect people's personal property rights, but can you explain and describe some of the frustrations you've seen with some of the permitting process, Chief?
So across the southwest border, we deal with private landowners. We deal with the federal government refuge property. We deal with certainly areas that are protected lands. And so all of that creates a challenge for us. The Secretary has leveraged his CADX authority to allow us to continue some of these programs and initiatives to ensure that we have those tools that allow us to have situational awareness out there along the southwest border. We're closing gates and gaps. We've already closed 55 of the gates and gaps, and we're remediating the levee system here in South Texas and some of the other areas. And so this idea that, we turned off all infrastructure is inaccurate. We continue to propose recommendations that represent life safety or threats into the community, and we've seen approvals on several of those projects already.
Can you describe how long some of the permitting process takes, and what, if anything, is holding you up from the installation of some of this new fiber optic capability?
So it varies depending on location. What we've seen here in South Texas, some of the records, the real estate and who owns the property are sometimes go back multiple generations, and so that becomes a tremendous challenge for our real estate experts. And then in some other areas, it moves quite rapidly. So it just varies depending on location. And I will tell you that in the last 24 months, 36 months that I've been up at Washington, D.C., I can continue to push the infrastructure program as well as the underground detection system, because I do think it is probably the wave of the future.
Please continue to give that feedback, Chief. Moving on to the light posts. Have any of the light posts been turned off?
No, sir. None of the light posts have been turned off. We are challenged with some of the remote video sensor camera systems. There's a backlog with the supply chain issues that we experience both in our fleet and some of the technology. We're starting to catch up over the last 6 months.
And can you describe the lack of operational lampposts and what that could do to border security?
So the inability to have situational awareness, to not have the border areas lit up or have camera systems deployed really decreases my confidence in the got away number. And so we want to maintain as much situational awareness out in that border environment, and all of those are tools that we leverage in every sector along the southwest border.
Thanks, Chief. Chairman, I yield.